Welcome, fellow travelers, to Sleep University. Tonight, as the day's concerns begin to fade, we invite you on a tranquil journey to the ancient sands of Egypt, where sleep was not merely a rest, but a sacred doorway. A doorway to profound wisdom, divine messages, and a connection to realms beyond our waking sight. Settle in, breathe deeply, and allow these ancient mysteries to gently guide you towards a restorative peace. We'll explore how the Egyptians viewed sleep as a sacred state, the incredible purpose they found in dreams, and the serene places they built to seek divine guidance. So let your mind gently wander as we delve into the secrets of the pharaohs' slumber. The sacred state of sleep, where the bar takes flight. For the ancient Egyptians, sleep was far more than just unconsciousness. It was a profound, almost mystical state, seen as a temporary, yet vital separation of the bar, the individual's unique personality and soul, from the physical body. Imagine your very essence, your true self, able to slip away from its earthly home and journey freely. This wasn't a frightening thought. Instead, it was a fundamental aspect of their spiritual understanding of existence. To truly grasp this, we need to understand a core concept in ancient Egyptian belief: the components of the human spirit. They believed a person was made up of several interconnected parts, not just a body and a soul as many modern traditions define them. There was the Ka, often translated as the life force or spiritual double, which remained connected to the body even after death, needing sustenance. Then there was the Akh, the effective one, representing the transfigured spirit that had achieved a blessed afterlife. But for our journey tonight, the most significant component is the Ba. The Ba was depicted as a human-headed bird, often shown fluttering above the deceased's mummy or flying freely outside the tomb. This image perfectly captures its nature. It was the part of you that could move, experience, and engage with the world, both living and spiritual. It represented your personality, your consciousness, your unique identity. During waking hours, the Ba was firmly anchored within your body, but as sleep gently descended, the Ba was believed to unfurl its wings, becoming momentarily liberated. This freedom of the Ba during sleep carried immense spiritual weight. It was seen as a gentle echo of death, a temporary passage into other dimensions, including the vast and mysterious realms of the afterlife. Think of it like a brief nightly rehearsal for the ultimate journey. If sleep was a miniature death, then dreams were the glimpses, the experiences, the messages gathered during this nocturnal sojourn. This profound belief imbued every moment of slumber with deep meaning and possibility. It was a time when the boundaries between the living world and the spirit world became incredibly thin. This profound belief also helps us understand why the Egyptians were so meticulously prepared the physical body for eternity. The elaborate process of mummification, the construction of grand tombs, and the careful placement of grave goods were all designed to preserve the body, ensuring that the Ba, once its nightly or eternal journey was complete, would always have a familiar and intact home to return to. Even seemingly simple objects like headrests, often beautifully carved and found in tombs, served not just for comfort in life, but had symbolic significance in death. They ensured the head, the seat of consciousness, remained intact for the Ba's eventual return, safeguarding the path to eternal slumber. These headrests often featured protective deities or symbols, further emphasizing their role in securing a peaceful passage for the sleeping, or indeed the sleeping dead. In this state of temporary separation, the sleeper was also considered open to external influences, both benevolent and, at times, less so. The unmoored Ba, while enjoying freedom, was also vulnerable. This openness to forces beyond the waking world, while offering incredible opportunities for divine contact, also necessitated vigilance against less friendly entities. This is a thread we'll weave through our discussion tonight, as we explore how the Egyptians sought both revelation and protection during their nightly journey. Dreams as divine whispers, messages from beyond. With the bar free to roam the unseen realms during sleep, dreams became profoundly important. They were not viewed as random, fleeting images generated by an overactive mind, as we might sometimes perceive them today. Instead, for the ancient Egyptians, dreams were sacred communications. They believed that during sleep, individuals could directly receive messages from the gods themselves, from revered ancestors who had passed into the afterlife, and from guiding spirits who watched over humanity. It was a time when the divine reached out to the mortal, offering insights and guidance. Imagine living in a world where your deepest sleep held the keys to your future, where every significant dream was a direct pronouncement from a higher power. This was the reality for the ancient Egyptians. These dreams were often considered prophetic, glimpses into what was to come, divine advice, or even warnings about important decisions. They could influence everything from personal health to the monumental decisions of the pharaoh concerning warfare or the construction of great temples. The dream was not just a personal experience, it could have national significance. Perhaps one of the most famous and compelling examples comes from Prince, later Pharaoh, Thutmose IV. This story perfectly illustrates the real-world impact of dreams in ancient Egypt. Imagine a young prince, perhaps tired from hunting in the desert, resting in the shadows of the colossal Great Sphinx near Giza. For centuries, the Sphinx, this enigmatic guardian, had been partially buried by the relentless desert sands. Legend has it that as Thutmose rested, he drifted into a dream. In this profound vision, the Great Sphinx itself spoke to him. It promised him the throne of Egypt, a destiny that was not necessarily guaranteed for him at that time, but only if he cleared the encroaching sands from around its magnificent body. Upon waking, the prince, deeply moved by this divine message, took the dream literally. He rallied his people and undertook the arduous task of excavating the colossal monument. True to the dream's prophecy, Thutmose IV did indeed ascend to the throne of Egypt. As a testament to this life-altering dream, he erected the dream stele or sphinx stele between the sphinx's paws, detailing his miraculous dream and the subsequent fulfillment of its prophecy. This monument served as a lasting, public affirmation of the divine power of dreams and the legitimacy of his rule. It's a remarkable narrative, showcasing how a nocturnal vision could literally shape the destiny of a pharaoh and an entire nation. Beyond royal narratives, the belief in prophetic dreams was widespread throughout the ancient world, even among those connected to Egypt. You might be familiar with the biblical story of Joseph interpreting Pharaoh's dreams, the 7 fat cows devoured by 7 lean ones, and the 7 plump ears of grain swallowed by 7 withered ones. While this is a Hebrew narrative, it takes place within an Egyptian setting and highlights the Egyptian pharaoh's reliance on dream interpretation for national policy. Joseph's ability to interpret these seemingly perplexing dreams as warnings of coming abundance, followed by severe famine, and to advise on storing grain, perfectly illustrates the belief in dreams as direct, actionable messages from the divine concerning the future. This cross-cultural example underscores just how deeply ingrained this concept was in the broader ancient Near East, with Egypt at its center. The Egyptians even categorized dreams, recognizing that not all divine messages were the same. Some dreams were direct demands from the gods, instructing individuals or the pharaoh to perform specific pious acts or build certain monuments. Others were gentle revelations, offering hidden knowledge or profound insights. Still others were specific messages of healing for ailments, where a deity might appear and prescribe a remedy, or simply bestow a blessing that led to recovery. And then there were dreams of warning, alerting the dreamer to impending danger or misfortune, allowing them to take preventative action. This nuanced understanding of dream types shows a sophisticated approach to their interpretation and application. The consistent presence of dreams in Egyptian lore, from the highest echelons of royalty to the everyday lives of common people, demonstrates their pervasive influence. They were not mere psychological phenomena, but rather active conduits of information, wisdom, and even commands from the unseen forces that shaped their world. And this profound respect for dreams led to the creation of very specific places and practices to cultivate and understand them. The serenity of dream incubation, seeking guidance in sacred spaces. So deeply did the Egyptians trust these dream messages that they actively sought them out through a practice known as dream incubation. This wasn't a passive waiting game for dreams to arrive. It was a deliberate, gentle ritual, a focused act of spiritual intention, to invite a specific dream or receive divine guidance on a particular matter. Imagine a purposeful, almost meditative act, designed to open one's self to divine communication during slumber. They would journey to special sanctuaries, often called sleep temples by modern scholars, or sometimes referred to as Asklepions by the Greeks, who later adopted and adapted this practice. These were not just places of worship. They were tranquil havens designed specifically for restorative slumber and profound revelation. Think of them as ancient spiritual hospitals, places where the mind and spirit could find healing and clarity through divine contact during sleep. These were centers of pilgrimage for people seeking answers, solace, and intervention from the gods. The rituals involved in dream incubation were gentle and contemplative, designed to purify the body and mind, making the individual receptive to divine influence. Before sleeping, seekers would undergo various purification rituals. This might involve a period of quiet fasting to cleanse the body and sharpen the mind, or a calming ritual bath, symbolically washing away worldly concerns and preparing for spiritual communion. They would also offer quiet prayers to the specific deity they wished to contact, articulating their needs or questions. This preparatory phase was crucial, setting the stage for the sacred experience of incubation. Once purified and prepared, the seekers would enter the dimly lit, hushed chambers of the sleep temple. Here, in these serene spaces, they would lay down, often on specially prepared sacred beds or cleaner, sometimes even directly on animal skins, chosen for their symbolic purity. The atmosphere was one of profound quiet, perhaps with the soft murmur of chants from priests in a distant part of the temple, or the gentle fragrance of incense lingering in the air. The intention was to create an environment utterly conducive to relaxation and spiritual receptivity, allowing the seeker to drift into a deep sleep with a specific question or intention in mind. The hope was that during this sacred sleep, a deity or spirit would appear to them in a dream, providing the sought-after guidance, a specific cure for an ailment, or a clear answer to a dilemma. People sought solace and guidance here for all manner of concerns: healing for physical ailments, clarity for complex life decisions, or answers to personal anxieties that troubled their waking hours. These temples offered a peaceful sanctuary for the mind and spirit, a place where earthly worries could be shed and divine wisdom could be received. Among the deities most associated with these healing and dream-inducing temples were Imhotep, the renowned architect and physician from the Old Kingdom, who was later deified as a god of medicine and healing. His temples, such as the one at Saqqara, became important centers for dream incubation. Later, with Greek influence, the god Serapis, a syncretic deity blending Egyptian and Greek elements, and the Greek god Asclepius also became prominent figures in these healing sanctuaries. The continued popularity of these dream temples across different periods and cultures in Egypt speaks to the enduring human desire for divine guidance and healing, and the profound belief in sleep as a pathway to achieving it. The serenity of these ancient practices, the quiet devotion, and the gentle preparation offer a calming window into a world deeply connected to the power of dreams. Decoding the night's embrace. Ancient dream books. With dreams holding such profound significance, their interpretation was equally vital. Imagine receiving a cryptic message, but lacking the key to unlock its meaning. The ancient Egyptians faced this challenge, and their solution was truly ingenious. They created what we call dream books. These weren't just collections of anecdotes, they were actual written manuals, practical handbooks designed to help decipher the messages woven into their slumber. They were the earliest known systematic guides to dream interpretation, offering a fascinating glimpse into the ancient mind. The most famous and complete of these is the papyrus Chester Beatty III, dating back to around 1250 BCE. It's a remarkable document, organized much like a modern dictionary or encyclopedia of dreams. On one side of the papyrus, dreams are listed with their interpretations, categorized as either good or bad. This simple classification was crucial. A good dream meant an auspicious and favorable outcome, a sign of blessing or future success. A bad dream, on the other hand, indicated potential difficulties, misfortune, or warning. Sometimes the bad interpretations were even written in striking red ink, a subtle but clear visual warning to the reader. This provides a stark contrast to the black ink used for good dreams and the dream descriptions themselves, adding an intriguing visual layer to the ancient texts. The interpretations themselves offer a captivating insight into the Egyptian worldview, often being surprisingly literal or, at times, relying on clever wordplay. Let's explore a few examples, just to give you a taste of these ancient revelations. Imagine if you dreamt of something as mundane as food, but it held a deeper meaning. If a man sees himself in a dream eating crocodile meat, it means becoming an official among his people. A peculiar association, perhaps, but one that speaks to the power and danger of the crocodile and the authority it might represent. If a man sees himself in a dream bathing in the river, it means purification from every evil. This is a beautiful and understandable interpretation, reflecting the life-giving and cleansing properties of the Nile. It suggests a spiritual renewal, a washing away of worries and impurities. If a man sees himself in a dream sleeping on the ground, it means consuming his property. This might seem counterintuitive at first, but perhaps sleeping without a proper bed or shelter implies a loss of status or wealth, leading to the depletion of one's possessions. If a man sees himself in a dream eating excrement, it means consuming his property in his house. This is another intriguing and somewhat visceral interpretation that ties a deeply unpleasant act to a loss of personal wealth, suggesting a wasteful or destructive behavior impacting one's home and livelihood. What makes some of these interpretations particularly fascinating is that they sometimes relied on phonetic similarities or puns in the Egyptian language. For example, the word for harp, benet, might have sounded similar to a word meaning evil, also benet, so dreaming of a harp could signify trouble. Or the word for donkey, might have been associated with a word meaning promoted, srr, leading to a seemingly illogical but linguistically clever interpretation. This layer of linguistic play adds a unique intellectual depth to their dream analysis, showing not just superstition, but also a sophisticated understanding of their own language's nuances. It's a reminder that ancient cultures were just as complex and ingenious in their thought processes as we are today. The role of priests and scribes in this system was paramount. They were the trained professionals, the guardians of this ancient knowledge. People would consult them, describing their dreams, and these learned individuals, often drawing upon these very dream books, would provide the interpretations. This wasn't a casual reading. It was a professional service, often requiring a fee, demonstrating the immense value placed on understanding these nocturnal messages. They served as the bridge between the dreaming mind and the divine messages, guiding individuals through the often symbolic landscape of their subconscious. The existence and systematic nature of these ancient dream books highlight a profound belief in the intrinsic meaning of dreams, not just as random mental phenomena, but as a deliberate form of communication from unseen forces. They show a society deeply invested in understanding and acting upon these nocturnal revelations, making the realm of sleep a central, rather than peripheral aspect of daily life and spiritual practice. The darker side, nightmares and protection. While many dreams were cherished as divine gifts, gentle guidance from the gods, the ancient Egyptians were also acutely aware of the unsettling nature of nightmares. They understood that not all nocturnal visions were pleasant or benevolent messages. These disturbing dreams were often attributed to less friendly forces, hostile spirits, vengeful deceased individuals, or even demonic attacks aiming to disturb the vulnerable sleeper. In a world so deeply interconnected with the spiritual, the idea of malevolent entities influencing one's dreams was a very real concern. The sleeper, with their bar temporarily separated, was seen as particularly susceptible to these negative influences. This vulnerability meant that measures were necessary to safeguard the individual during their journey through sleep. The Egyptians weren't just passively accepting of bad dreams, they actively sought to prevent them and ward off their perceived causes. To ensure a peaceful and undisturbed sleep, they employed a variety of protective measures. One common practice involved the use of amulets. These were small, beautifully crafted charms, often made of faience, stone, or metal, depicting protective deities or powerful symbols. These amulets were not just decorative, they were believed to possess magical properties that could deflect harm. People would wear them during sleep, perhaps on a necklace, or place them strategically near their beds. Imagine placing a small, comforting guardian by your pillow, designed to deflect any unwanted intrusions into your dreams. Common protective deities invoked through these amulets included figures like Taweret, the hippopotamus goddess associated with childbirth and protection, and Bez, the dwarf deity, often depicted with a fierce but comical face, who was a protector of households, especially women and children, and believed to ward off evil spirits and nightmares. Their images, often grotesque yet comforting, served as visual deterrents to any malevolent forces. Beyond physical charms, specific spells and incantations were also used. These were often short, potent phrases, softly whispered or written on papyrus and placed near the sleeper. The words themselves were believed to hold power, creating a magical barrier around the individual. Imagine a gentle, rhythmic incantation designed to create a sphere of protection around you as you drift into slumber, repelling any negative energies or unwanted dream visitors. These spells were a form of spiritual defense, an active engagement with the unseen world to ensure peaceful rest. The presence of these protective rituals highlights a balanced worldview. While they embraced the potential for positive divine communication in dreams, they also recognized the darker, more challenging aspects of the nocturnal realm. Their proactive approach to safeguarding sleep, through both tangible amulets and the intangible power of words, underscores their holistic understanding of existence, where the spiritual world constantly intersected with the physical, even in the deepest moments of rest. It offers a gentle reminder that even in ancient times, the quality of sleep was a cherished and guarded aspect of well-being. Farewell to ancient wisdom, a gentle return. As we gently return from this ancient journey, we are reminded of the profound reverence the Egyptians held for sleep and dreams. For them, the night was not simply a time of biological rest, a temporary cessation of activity, but a sacred expanse where the ordinary world faded and the extraordinary began. It was a time when the boundaries between the mundane and the miraculous blurred, when the human soul could journey to meet the divine. Their understanding of sleep as a journey for the bar their reliance on dreams as direct messages from gods and ancestors, and their meticulous practices of dream incubation in tranquil sleep temples all paint a picture of a culture deeply integrated with the spiritual dimensions of nocturnal life. They didn't just experience dreams, they interpreted them, acted upon them, and even sought to induce them, making sleep an active, meaningful, and deeply spiritual part of their existence. From the grand decrees of pharaohs stemming from dream revelations to the personal healing sought in quiet temple chambers, the world of dreams profoundly influenced every facet of ancient Egyptian society. This journey through ancient Egyptian sleep lore, with its whispers of divine messages and its reverence for the resting spirit, offers a unique perspective on our own understanding of sleep. While our modern scientific approach to dreams differs greatly from theirs, there's a timeless wisdom in recognizing the profound, sometimes mysterious power of our minds during slumber. Perhaps the ancient Egyptians, in their deep connection to the spiritual world, intuited something about the vast potential of the unconscious mind that we are still only beginning to fully comprehend. They certainly understood that the time spent in sleep is far more than just inactivity. It is a vital, fertile ground for inner experience and connection. May the wisdom of the ancients inspire your own moments of rest. May their reverence for the tranquility of night encourage you to find your own peace as you settle down. May your sleep be peaceful, your dreams serene, and your waking hours filled with gentle clarity and renewed energy. Thank you for joining us tonight at Sleep University. Allow these ancient whispers to soothe your mind and gently guide you into a deep and restorative sleep. Until next time, sleep well.